Well, hi there, everybody. It is 4 o'clock on Tuesday, November 12th. My name is Darren Milligan. I'm here in Washington, D.C. at the Smithsonian Institution, and this is our weekly office hours. Welcome if you're a first-timer, or welcome back if this is part of your regular schedule. We're here most Tuesdays to help you take advantage of the more than 4 million digital resources the Smithsonian museums and research centers, libraries, and archives have online, and to help you use the Smithsonian Learning Lab tool in a more productive way. So looks like we're just waiting for a few folks to come online. So I will pause here for just a moment, and we'll rejoin you here in just a second. If by chance you are here, it looks like nobody is on the line right now, but if you are and my numbers are just wrong, please feel free to say hello over there in the chat window. That's that side of your YouTube video. It might be right below you on the screen there. Let me know you're here. If not, I'll hang out here a bit until we've got some participants. If you have joined us, welcome to our weekly office hours with the Smithsonian. We're here just to answer your questions. So if you do have a question, the chat box that should be just to on the right-hand side or just below the video screen is where you can get those questions into me. And we'll take those questions in as they come. So please feel free to let us know what's on your mind. If you're just joining us, welcome to Office Hours. My name's Darren. I'm here at the Smithsonian in Washington, and this is our weekly Office Hours. It's just an open session. Someone from our team is here pretty much every week to answer any questions you might have about finding and using digital Smithsonian resources. Or if you've got other questions, we can try to get an answer to you as well. The way that you get those questions into me, though, is by typing them. There should be a chat area there. You should see a message just to the right of the screen here from Smithsonian Education saying, "Hi, everyone." That's where you can get your questions into me. And I kind of just hang out and wait for questions to come in. So please use that space to say hi and to let me know how we can help out. If you've just joined us, welcome to Smithsonian Office Hours. You're in the right place. My name's Darren. I'm here in DC at the Smithsonian, and this is just our open session to answer any questions you might have. So if you've got a question, want to take a look at something in the Learning Lab, or looking for a specific resource, the chat area, which should be just to the right-hand side of your screen, sometimes it's just below on YouTube, is where you can get your questions into me. You just type those in, and we'll get started. Hi, Kim. Thanks for your question. So Kim's asking, is it possible to add a placeholder when making a collection? Kim, it's possible to do that. I'm going to switch over here to Learning Lab, and I'll show you a way to do that. There's not really necessarily a built-in mechanism to do that, but let me show you here how you might look at that. If I go into one of my collections, hopefully you can see that. So when I'm editing this collection, we don't really have a tool for you to sort of place something in there. The easiest way to do that is just to upload an image into the collection. And so you can use Photoshop or whatever image editing software that you might be using. You can even use like PowerPoint or Google Slides, and just save it as an image, save it as a JPEG, and upload that image. And that'll just sort of create a blank image in the pace of your collection. Let's just do that real quick. And Kim, if I'm not understanding your question, I cannot see you, Kim. I can only read what you type, unfortunately. So if I'm not understanding your question, please let me give me some more information, and we'll kind of see what I can do for you. I'm going to continue sort of going down the path, Kim, and we'll see what we can do here. So sometimes, it's easier just to just kind of draw a shape here. I'm just going to draw a square. Fill that square with some color that tells me this is just a placeholder. So I'm just in Google Slides here. This is just free. Anyone can do this, and I'm going to download this as a JPEG or a PNG file. Either one works. And then if I come back to my collection, so I've saved that, I'm going to say add a resource. I'm going to go to the add a resource tab here in the middle. I'm going to say this is a placeholder. I'm going to say I want to upload a file. It's going to ask you when you upload a file into Learning Lab whether or not you've created the item that you're uploading. So if you're using a source from another online place or another provider, you need to provide some information about where you received that. But if not, you can just say yes, and it'll autofill your name in there. And let's see if we can find my slide on title presentation. So once I've done that, it's important you got to scroll back up a bit here and get to this blue button where you say add. And so now you can see it's created this sort of placeholder, and I can drag this around and sort of leave it in there. So I like to use bright colored things like this too, so I remember, like, oh, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to have to fill that in with the thing that I was trying to find. And so that's a good way to do that. So Kim, did that get to your question? Oh, you're a graduate student, George Mason. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Is that the kind of placeholder that you were talking about in terms of building out a collection? Hope so. If not, let's keep going. Yeah. What was the name of what you're using in Google for placeholders? So I'm just using Google Slides, which is sort of Google's version of PowerPoint. So if you're in a Google Doc or in Google, you can come to say File, New, and you want to say Presentation instead of a Google Doc. So if you're in a regular Google Doc, you can just say File, New, Presentation. And that's going to basically open up, if you're more familiar with PowerPoint, you can use PowerPoint too, but this is a quick way for me to show you online, and you can see it sort of creates, in a sense, a PowerPoint deck for you. And I just use that to make an image. You can definitely use any other graphic software you might have if you're just trying to sort of create a space like that. And then you can drag it around exactly. So if I knew that up here in the front row, when I hover over, I'm in edit mode. So remember, to rearrange your collection, you've got to go into that edit mode. So that gives you the green bar across the top. Once you're in there, any resource that you roll over, you can see in the upper left, this crosshair appears. And then you just click on that, and then you can drag that around and reorder. You can reorder your placeholder, but you can also reorder anything in your collection. And so I can kind of move some of these things around here too. Cool. Oh, you're working with the Smithsonian. That's great. Need to get permission to add the resources first. Yeah, super important. Certainly when you're uploading material into Learning Lab, you want to make sure that you're complying with the Smithsonian terms of use, which generally says you need to have permission to use that. And all of their websites have information. They typically are a link saying terms of use, something like that. And they'll give you information about that. Generally, you just need to cite and provide a link to what you're using. Some websites that are more commercial in nature tend not to allow reuse of the material, but most other online providers, if you're looking at Wikipedia or Wikimedia, if you're looking at the Library of Congress, other big institutional repositories typically just require that you provide the appropriate citation. And we require that too. Kim, as you work on Learning Lab and you publish collections, we have a team of screeners who go through and make sure that your collections comply with the Smithsonian terms of use. And so if they don't, what we typically do is just alert you to let you know that that's there. Sometimes we unpublish your collection, but often we give you a couple weeks then to go back in and put those citations in if you've missed one or two of those. So thank you for that question. Let me know if you've got others. Yeah, exactly, Kim. You're totally onto it. To use Google Slides for the arrows that other collections have used. Exactly. Now, people use different things. As you sort of move throughout the Learning Lab, you'll see lots of different types of, we call them spacer images. I'll pull one up here so we can see. Let's see here. I'm gonna pull up a collection that was made by one of our educators at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I think they're using those. Let's see here. I'm using something a little bit different on that one. Let me go through if I can see one with the arrows. Nope, I'm not using arrows in that one. Let's see what we can find. There we go. So this collection is about Black Panther and Black superheroes. And what you can see here is these images, this history, culture, and comics, old suit, new suit, these are these spacer images. And so the museum is using, they might be using Google Slides or PowerPoint, they might be using Photoshop or another image editing software to create these spacer images. And they did exactly what I showed you with that pink block. They create the image in another application, and then they upload it into their collection. And it allows them both to create these spacers, but also to create these thumbnail images, that's first title slide that shows up when you're searching. And so they're able to segment out the different portions of their collection using those spacers. It's a great way to help users when they're looking at your whole collection to understand how the pacing works. So anyone else who's just joined us, thanks for popping into office hours. My name is Darren Milligan. I'm here in DC at the Smithsonian, and this is our kind of open session. Most weeks we're online here on Tuesday afternoons just to support our users and be here to answer any questions. So great question from Kim about the spacers, about the sort of places to hold some space. If others got questions, please let me know, and I will get to them. Navigate back over to the Learning Lab and get back to the home page. Kim, yeah, so those title slides. So again, those are being made the same way by using, creating a graphic and then uploading that graphic as the first resource. And the value of those primarily are for search results. And so when you look at, these are 1,800 Learning Lab collections, all tagged with the word history. And so when you look at them, you can see some are just an image. This is a typical collection that just has the first image in a collection is by default the thumbnail that shows up in these search results here. But some users have created these title slides. And so here's an arrow one. Here's one with an image and some text on it. Here's another one with text on it. And it helps other users as they're looking through search results to narrow down this. And so we don't have a built-in tool right now to create these. We're working on that. We'll have that probably next spring. So you'll be able to just create those right within Learning Lab. But for now, you can create just an image using Google Slides, using another application. And then when you upload that into your collection, you'll put it as the first resource. And then it automatically shows up as the thumbnail for your collection within the context of search results. So Kim, hopefully I got to your question there about those. So again, they're exactly like those spacer images, those arrow images, but they're intended to sort of serve as that thumbnail within the search results. And again, they show up as the first image. So when you click into a collection, they show up again here in that first place. So once you've created that, you'd want to drag that resource into the first position in your collection. And once it's there and you save and publish your collection, then it automatically will show up in the search results as the thumbnail for that collection. So I hope that made sense, Kim. Kim, I think you can even, let's see if we can do this, page setup. Yes, so you can even come in and make these square. So Learning Lab resources are square, at least in the small version and the thumbnail version. So if you were creating something really specific, so I just went up to File, and then I went down to Page Setup, and I said Custom in the pick list there, and then I made it a square 10 by 10 inches. So then you could create that thumbnail here. You can add images into Google Slides. You can add text in, and then export that like we did before as a JPEG and upload that, and then it'll be the perfect dimensions for that thumbnail to work. So Kim says, if I want to use other, say, medicine, can I add more than one descriptor? Yeah, Kim, let me go in and show you how to do that. So there's a couple ways to do that. If I go into my collection, go back into edit mode, I can show you the couple of ways to do that. Now, when you create and publish a Learning Lab collection, a couple of parts of what you've created become the thing that Learning Lab searches. And the two things that Learning Lab searches are the title of your collection and the description. So these two boxes here. So anything you put in there, any words you put in there will show up in a search result. So any keywords, any words at all of that gets what we call indexed by the Learning Lab, and then it's searchable. But there's other ways that people search besides just putting in, like I did, the word history. And the way that they often do that is, I'll show you here, is by narrowing the search results. And so if someone's performed a search and they get a lot of search results, so here I just did a search and I've got 4.183 million resources, way too many for me to understand. But if I go into this refined search panel, I can come in and narrow things down. If I'm on the collections tab, if I'm looking at search results from collections, you can see there's some more defined categories here. There's subjects, there's age ranges, other educational features like language and the end user. So this is a way of refining the search results once you actually already have received some search results. And the way that you do that, the way that you tell other users about your collection and enable that kind of refinement is in this field area here that you're seeing on the screen. So I'm in the edit mode. Again, I've got the green bar, and I'm going to click on the Edit Info button. And that's going to pull up this whole tool here that allows you to interface and add this additional information. So again, title and description are the things that the Learning Lab will index so that the words in there become searchable. But these other tabs are those search filters. So here's where I can say what subject the collection is about. And there's little ones with little arrows mean that they have a more refined category. I don't think we have medicine under science or social studies. Let's see. But depending on the collection, you might be able to find the right broader field that these fit into. And then again, the other ones we saw here is age levels, these educational features, what language the collection is, how long the collection takes to use if it's more of an activity. And then if you're creating a standard aligned collection, you can tag Common Core, Math and English, Next Generation Science, and the C3, the College Career and Civic Life Framework for Social Studies standards. And so all those standards are built in here. And you can narrow down here and you can just check the ones that apply to your collection. Once you've done that, those all then show up in this informational panel when other users view your collection, or in that search panel over here when others are narrowing the search results that they've found. So I hope that helps, Kim. It doesn't look like we have a medicine tag, but you can certainly put in the description, you'd want to put the word medicine so that if someone's looking for medicine or medical, healthcare, health, you might want to. Sometimes even just people put the word keywords, colon, and they put a bunch of those right in the description field. And that allows then people to search and find that collection with those keywords. So Kim, let me know if I got to your answer there. Cool, Kim. Thank you. I'm glad that's helpful. Let me know if you've got any other questions, or if you're just joining us. Welcome to Office Hours. We were just taking a deep dive with Kim on how to make sure that the right keywords are in your Learning Lab collections, and so that other users can find that, and how to tag your collections with some additional educational we call it educationally relevant metadata, but words and categories that help define what your collection's about and who it's designed to be used with. But if you've got other questions, you can see the area over there where you can get your questions to me. I can't see you or hear you, unfortunately, but you can type in your questions, and we'll get to those as they come in. Take us back over here to the home page. Kim, you've got a lot of questions, and they're great questions. Thank you. So uploading resource, how do we add the metadata? Let me show you. Go back in the collection here. So when you're adding a resource, when you're uploading a resource, again, you click on Add Resource, then come in here to the third tab to add a resource. You can do it a number of ways. When you're uploading, you can do it right away. So you can put in you can do it right here when you're uploading. So this is going to be sample resource, and the metadata goes here. And you're uploading a file. If you say no, you're going to say who the creator is. So we're going to say this is from the Library of Congress. We're going to say that's an organization. If you have a URL from where that came from, the website where you found that image, you're going to paste it in here. And then the date that you found it, if it's not today. And then we're going to say select a file. I'm going to just add in that same image we did again since it's handy. So once it's done uploading, again, remember you scroll back up here and click that blue add button. So now that's been added down here to my collection. Now, if you didn't add in all the metadata when you're uploading, it's no big deal. You can do this anytime. Is you want to click on that. So again, I'm still in edit mode. So I've still got the green bar across the top. I click on the resource. So now I've opened up that image. And if I click on the info panel here, I'm going to open that up. And this whole area, because I'm still in edit mode, is all editable. So I can come back here and change the title. I'm going to say sample paint image. You can see the title changes. And then here I can come in. Now the information I added when I was uploading it is here, but the metadata is here. So you can paste in and you can then use the tools here to format all that metadata. So you can either do it right when you're uploading it and it'll just kind of park it in there ready for you, or you can upload just a basic sample, metadata goes here, and then come back in and put in all of the information that you want. You definitely want to make sure you don't delete the source, because one of the things our screeners look for when new collections are published is to make sure that resources are properly cited. And so if you're using something that is from another organization, you definitely want to make sure that you don't delete out that citation, because you'll definitely get an email from us if that's not in there. Oh, cool, thanks. That's good, Kim. There's a question about collaboration. We don't have collaboration tools right now in terms of co-building collections, but you can do it in a number of ways, because any collection can be copied. The way that we often collaborate here is that I'll jump back in here and exit out. Basically, if I wanted to collaborate on continuing to build this collection with Kim, what I would do is I would copy the URL. So I'd make a copy of the website here, okay? I would email or send that website address to Kim. She would open it up, and what she would do is she would click on the copy button. And so she's gonna go in and say, Kim's version of, and she's going to make a full copy of that collection. So what she's done now is created a second version of this. her changes to this one aren't going to affect mine, but she can continue now editing and working on this because the collection is in her account. And then she can do the same. So she could then email the URL, which is different for hers, back to me. I could make a copy then of her version and continue to work on it back and forth. So it's not the most straightforward necessarily way of doing it, but it does allow you and another person, or you and a few other people, to sort of continual build upon each other's work. And the Learning Lab was designed specifically to enable that, so that if you find another user's published collection, so I've published my Smithsonian closet collection, and so if you find that, you can make a copy too of mine, and you can build on it anyway. So all those, there's about 5,000 published collections on the Learning Lab that other users have made. Any other user can copy and modify those collections and continue to sort of iterate and build upon that work. So if you find something the Smithsonian's authored, you can make a copy of it and customize it to be more useful to however you are using the lab. Hopefully I got to your question about collaboration there. And if you've just joined us, we've got about 20 minutes left for our weekly office hours. Thanks for joining us. My name's Darren. I'm here in DC at the Smithsonian, and we're here on our weekly office hours. We don't have any more scheduled this month because we've got some travel and the holiday and Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. But we'll get our schedule for December and January office hours hopefully up later this week. So if you check back to the site, I'll show you here where all that is. If you're on the Learning Lab, you just come up into the Sunburst, and that'll open up the menu. If I go over here on the left to the About section, this is where all the information about Learning Lab and about our office is. But if you come down here about the Smithsonian Learning Lab on the left, we've got an events page. And this is where we list all of our in-person events. So if we go to conferences or other educational events or our online events. And so we've got some webinars coming up, one a week from today. That's a deep dive into the collection. We're going to bring you Kendra Flanagan, who is an educator at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. She'll be here with my colleague, Ashley Naranjo, who works on the Learning Lab team. And they'll be taking a deep dive into the collection. So that's next week. We've got some events coming up in December at the National Art Education Association. We've got a webinar. But then below that, we've got our office hours. And so this is where we list out that schedule. So it's a little out of date because we've got last week's and this week's on there, but we'll be updating that pretty soon with where we are. If you're just coming into the lab too, you can start at the home page. And on the left side of the homepage, we've got this Discover, Create, Share, and Learn. If you click on that Learn button, it'll scroll you down to where we share our news articles. These are our blog posts where we share a lot of teaching tips and different resources that are available. You can subscribe to our newsletter. And then again, we have a full listing here of our events, some recent webinars, and then again, our office hours list. And so if you're looking to connect, that's where you can find us. Yeah, Tan, I think you're responding. Tan says, got to be a better way of doing this in terms of collaborating. Totally agree. We're working on some collaboration tools right now that would allow a team of people or a larger group to sort of share ownership of some collections, and so you can do some more collaborative work. So those things are coming. We're always listening to feedback we get on office hours here and on workshops and other places, and that's how we really direct how we continue to evolve the lab. So we're definitely continuing to work on that because we've certainly been hearing from teacher teams and other groups that collaboration is really important. Kim asks, are the events open to everyone, or do you have to have an educational membership? Typically, they're open to everyone. The webinars we have listed on the site right now, that deep dive next week is free and open to everyone. You do have to register in advance for that, but it's free and it's open to everyone. Let's look on the other ones here. The National Art Educators Association. That is a membership organization, so let's look and see. I'm not sure if that one looks like this one's free for members of NAEA, but it's $49 for non-members.
So, the events we participate are, often a range of things, and so looks like those ones do have a fee, unless you're a member, Kim. But um, most of the events, especially the webinars that we produce in collaboration with our educational colleagues across the institution, are typically always free. Sometimes they require registration, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're sort of just like office hours, you just sort of pop in. Let's get us back up here to the top. Oh, sure thing, Kim. That's what we're here for. So glad this is helpful. So let me know if you've got other questions. Also, for you or for anyone currently there, we've got a couple other supports available. One is we've just published a guide to using the Learning Lab. This is a PDF guide that was designed to be printed, and we're in the process of updating our help section on the site that will have the similar information. But it's really up-to-date information about how to get started with a wide variety of functions of the lab. And that's at s.si.edu/SLL guide. You can check that out. And then, of course, always we're available via email. So anytime during the week, if you do have a question, something comes up, or you've got an issue, you can always shoot us an email. We're at learninglab@si.edu. Always available there. And again, you can always come to the Learning Lab, and in the lower right-hand corner, I'll show you here, if you click on this little question mark, you can submit feedback, and you can send us a message anytime. And that just sends us an email to that learninglab@si.edu email address. But you can get a hold of us that way. And usually, Monday through Friday, we try to get back to you right away. We're always keeping our eye on that inbox, and so that we can, try to remove some roadblocks for you as possible. If anyone else has questions, we've got about 15 minutes left in our office hour this week. So hopefully you can see that chat area where we've been interacting just to the right of your screen, or maybe just below your screen, and that's the place to get your questions in, and we'll dive into those as soon as we can. Oh yeah, Kim, you can definitely contact us anytime. especially you're working with the Smithsonian, so you'll know our email addresses. So you can contact me directly if you want. Uh, uh, but that learning lab at si.edu is the best way to get in a question. You can certainly tweet at us too. We're at Smithsonian Lab on Twitter if that's easier way for you to get a hold of us too. We're always keeping our eye on that too. So we try to get back to you as soon as we can, especially with things like this that we can easily get an answer back to you about how to connect. We're happy to do so. Hi there, if you've just joined us, you're in the right place. This is the last 10 minutes, I guess, this week of our Smithsonian office hours. My name's Darren. I'm here in DC at the Smithsonian, and if you've got questions, you're in the right place. I can't see you or hear you in the way that hopefully you can hear and see me, but just to the right of your screen, hopefully you see a chat area, and that's how you can type in your questions that you have to me. So in the remaining few minutes today, if you do have a question, I'm happy to help. We were just discussing too, if you're not quite ready with your question, you can always contact us through email. throughout the week. So we're here most Tuesdays for office hours, but we're online all the time. So if you've got a specific question or need some help finding some things, you can always get a hold of us through email. And I just mentioned too, we've just published a new a guide. I'm gonna switch over and show you that. So this is a guide that was designed to be printed and used in workshops, but we're sharing it out there with everybody. So this is a 17-page guide to getting started with the Learning Lab. And it will walk you through really the basics of what you'll find on the lab, what resources are and how to interact with them, what collections are and how you can interact and create them, how to sign up, how to create your profile, how to search, how you can search as well as filter those search results, and then how to go a little bit deeper, how to create a collection either by adapting an existing collection or making a new collection, enhancing and refining your collection, some of the things we looked at earlier in this past hour, adding interactivity to your collection, adding standalone features, uploading resources, putting in that metadata that we talked about so that your collections can be discoverable by others. And then, how to publish, how to embed a collection onto another website so you can put your collection onto another unit's website or another website out there on the internet. You can track student responses by creating rosters and managing those and creating assignments. And so it really walks you through everything you need to know about how to really get started with the Learning Lab. So I encourage everyone to check that out. It's a great resource, and that's at s.si.edu/SLL guide. And just a reminder, we won't be here next Tuesday. This is our last office hours for the month of November. We have some holidays here in the US and some travel coming up, but we should be back with some dates in December and January. And if you check out our homepage, you will be able to, maybe tomorrow or towards the end of this week, we'll have our schedule updated. So you can see the upcoming dates for when we'll have office hours through the last month of the year here. So Kim, thanks for your questions today. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Let me know if you have more questions. It looks like we might be here at the end of our office hours for this week. So I want to thank you for joining us. Again, my name's Darren. I'm here at the Smithsonian. Definitely feel free to contact us throughout the week. We are always available to help you out, make better use of the Learning Lab and Smithsonian digital resources. So once again, thanks for joining us at office hours, and we'll see you in the future.